type are simply your integer, which in the simplest term is just numbers, and so on and so on. Then you have your float, or you can call it decimal for short. Not for short anyway. So 0.1, 0.2, and so on. And you also have string. So basically, a string is anything that is inside a quote. This is a string, either a double quote or a single quote. So this is a string. This is also a string. What am I typing? So these are basic data type. You have your integer, you have your float, you have your string, you have character, which is basically a single letter in some instance. Some programming language refer to as char for short. Can be A or B. Don't mind my VS Code trying to autocomplete things. So now, if you want to start writing JavaScript on the front end, let's ignore the back end and everything. What you can do first, you can write it also here. You can put it in your body, but like I said, it's always advisable to create a separate file for it. Subsequently, in your other classes, you need that. But you can simply put a script tag here. Anything you put inside this script tag is JavaScript. So if I put A equals to 10, this is a script, but it's not going to run. It's not going to do anything because it's a script, but it's not linked to this place. Even if it's going to run underneath because at the front end, at browser level, we have what we call DOM. That's DOM. That's DOM manipulation. So what JavaScript tries to do for you is it tries to help you manipulate the DOM. And before you can start doing that, I don't want to dive into the but you have to understand that you need some keywords, you need a way to reference those tags that you are using or things that you want to call. So at a basic level, you can say that you have some keywords in JavaScript. Let me show you a very simple one. Alert, alert. This page contains JavaScript. So this is also like a simple function. In some other languages, they might refer to it as method. So all these functions and keywords are inbuilt, meaning that they've been created beforehand. You are not the one creating it. All you are doing is you are calling it. So the alert, what it does is that it just display a kind of an alert box to the user. And we have lots of them. So if you load this page again, this page I'm using as a demo example. So you get an alert. So this is what you put in your alert box that okay, this page contains JavaScript. And you must interact with that box first before that things continue. So we can put some other things here and you have your var keyword, you have your let, you have your const. So I will just tell you for now that these two are used for variables, but this one is more used like a for global variables, and sometimes it's not. You might not even really need it due to the modern JavaScript syntax, AXs, and the likes. So you can just use the let keyword, but let is more related to locally scoping something inside a function. I'm trying not to go too deep into technical terms for you because I want you guys to grasp the foundation very well. So const is like you are creating a constant, something that is fixed, that does not change. While for let and var, they deals with variable. Imagine you have a box. Inside that box, you can put anything you like. Today you can put your shoe. Tomorrow you can put another thing. So anytime you want to reference that particular item, you reference it by the box, not necessarily by what is inside. And the advantage of that is that if you want to change that variable later on anywhere, you don't need to start looking through all your code. You just change it in one place and it affects everywhere. For example, if I say that, select my name equals Ezekiel. Here's a basic sample. Anytime, anywhere I want to reference Ezekiel, I don't need to use Ezekiel. I will just use my name. I can just say, okay, alert my name, and it's going to display. Okay, sorry, let me save it. I didn't put this in autosave. And let's comment this one out. Let me even delete it for now so that you see that one easily. Okay, let's reload it. So you see Ezekiel popping out. So now what I'm trying to say is that I don't need to change this line again. If I want to display anything else, I just need to you can modify the variable. So okay, mm, Tom. There you go. So it depends on whatever you put inside of it. That's what variables are basically. They help you to hold, let me just say, they help you to hold your data. Now, just like the way HTML have tags and the way CSS have properties, JavaScript also have lot of inbuilt function, just like any other programming language. And we have the alert, we have the dialog, we have so many ones in there. You can also look up JavaScript. Actually, this is where many students tend to give up. But don't give up. Once you're able to overcome it, everything become easy. When I'm training students and the likes, when they see HTML, they're happy. When they see CSS, they're happy. But when they get to JavaScript, they'll be like, Jesus Christ. So, but it's not hard. Nothing is hard. You just need to take your time to understand how it functions, how it operates, and the basic rules guiding it. For example, in JavaScript, when you are writing anything, it's always best to end it with semicolon. Although this time, in in fact, nowadays it's not totally necessary, but sometimes it's needed. You need to know that, okay, if you want to create a basic function or if you want to call something, you should put it in curve bracket. All those little mistakes, they are things that throws error for beginners. So then, because it's a full programming language, you might want to understand the basic things related to programming language first in general, like if else statement, loop statement, how they work at basic level, and all of those things. before you start diving into the specific in JavaScript. Then you also want to understand the difference between JSON and objects. You want to understand how comment works and especially the syntax. So every programming language has their own syntax and most of the time they are very similar with some little differences. So the keyword that is being used, once you have that basic understanding, the rest becomes very easy. Another thing I will tell you is that don't cram anything, to be honest. You don't need, that's one thing in tech. Yes, at a point in time, you need to put some things in your brain, and the more you write it, some things will stick into your brain. But don't try to cram anything. Don't try to. It's not theoretical. Don't put definitions in your head. Get your hands dirty. That's where you will truly understand what you are doing. Don't be afraid of breaking things. Get a sample project. By the end of this class, I'm going to recommend some beginner projects that you can try out. You can try, there's this one that we normally call guess game that allow the user to guess a particular game. It's just a random input field. You create it and you tell the user to put any word. You will have some words in your that you are keeping in a kind of an array. That's a bit of data structure. Put it there. Then if any of the word is inside that array, you will display an alert to the user. Oh, you are correct, you are good, you are a genius. Otherwise, you tell the user they are wrong. Then other things include basic calculator and stuff like that. Then a small web page. You can create a sample web page for yourself and say, my name is so and so. This is my class, so and so. This is a bit about me. This is what I do. And just display it as index.html. Style it with basic CSS. And you'll be pleased with yourself that, oh, I've been able to achieve something. So this is basically what I'm saying. Let's remove this. Um, so you don't need much to achieve that. In order to do that, let me quickly introduce you guys to the header tags in HTML. So this is an header tag. We have 6 of them. You have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. The 6 is the smallest, the 1 is the biggest in terms of size. So you can tell you that, okay, I'm using an H3 tag and say, uh, there's, or you can just call it about me. And you type away. Things you want to put about yourself, just type. Put it in different paragraphs and load it on a web page to see as you going to appear. Okay. Okay, close this page. So every place called paragraph and paragraph and this you can see also market sizes, but like the H1 is the largest. If I change it to H1, you see something bigger. See, much bigger. So that's it about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Once you have a good grasp of JavaScript, you can progress further. That's when you start looking at CSS framework. Like I told you, the most popular one out there is Bootstrap and Tailwind. So this is Bootstrap. So most of the things that you'll be doing like styling, adding color, adding width, adding margin, adding padding, they've done that for you already. Once you just add a class, for example, let me just quickly show you a bit of how it works. If you just look at this quick start, we already have our index.html. So in fact, you can just copy this to see a bit of how it works on your browser. They have this starter code. And if you want to create a button easily, you just see all of it. They created more of it for you, and that's why it's so popular. All the login forms, all the codes are there. But before you start copying code from one point to another, have a good grasp of CSS, have a good grasp of JavaScript. I keep repeating that. So, but once you have that good grasp, the rest becomes very easy. All your buttons, if I want a basic button, this is it. It has been styled, including the colors. If I just pick any one of it, this button primary will give you blue, secondary, success, danger, most of the components that you need. And that's why these days, somebody will tell you that in 2 weeks or thereabout, they can build a website for you. And yes, they will do it, but not like a full, complete, fully functional web application. There's a difference between web application and website. These are normal websites, like all those blog, church, but a web application contains much more functionality. They are like full application that is either you are interacting with it, there is more logic or calculations and the likes. Like I said, I don't want to use too much terminology for you. So, but let me show you an example. Let's look at Uber Eats. This is a web app in the sense that you can actually make an order on the web application. You log in, you sign up. Or let's take Jumia for example. That's an e-commerce web application. You can't build that in 2 weeks. Don't allow anybody to deceive you, except if you are using WordPress or the likes. And WordPress is not even advisable for that type of application. So all these fintech web app, e-commerce, and the likes, they are not web applications if you want to build in 2 weeks. But let's assume that you are building like okay, a car website to display basic information, a school website that display basic information. You can actually do that in 2 weeks if you have a very good template and the likes. But a school management system, for example, there's no way you will build that in 2 weeks, except if you're using WordPress. Even with WordPress, the and the likes, you won't achieve it in 2 weeks. So we have Bootstrap, we have Tailwind, popular these days. Somehow it has managed to. CSS framework is that there's no preference. Just pick the ones you are comfortable with, the ones you can understand very well, or the one that your company happen to be using. If you find yourself working in a company tomorrow or the likes, They'll probably have to contain the files and structure and CSS framework they are using. So, but to me, I don't have any preference, either Tailwind or Bootstrap. Yes, they have some advantage over one another a bit. For example, Tailwind CSS is much more flexible and easier to customize than Bootstrap. But other than that, they all do the work very well. So there's Bootstrap, there's Tailwind, there's uh, Material UI. This one is not even popular again. This Material UI. Then there's this new one on the block. I can't remember the name again. Okay, this guy. This Shacn UI. Like I said, it all depends on what you are comfortable with. The media will always hype some of these framework and libraries, but in all reality, they are not that much better than one another. All they have is just components. Some are specifically optimized for libraries and framework. For example, Tailwind and CA and this shade CN, they kind of nowadays they are kind of optimized towards React mainly. So some people will say that if they use Tailwind, their total bundle file is being reduced and the like. Some people will say all those things are just argument. Just pick anyone you are comfortable with. Another one will come out tomorrow. That's one thing about JavaScript. There are like, if you want to do something in that same thing, take for example, if you want to create a chat on your web application, we have like about 5 or 6 different libraries that will create a chat for you. Some are free, some are not free. So you just have to pick the one you are familiar with. Even if you are creating forms, you start seeing Formic, you start seeing React hook forms and the likes. It all depends on what you guys agree to use and the likes. So after you have that understanding, you cannot decide you want to start going into React, JavaScript and the like. So I downloaded a guide here, which I call the front-end roadmap. So this one is created by a popular YouTube guy, a popular developer. Almost everybody knows him. This is Mosh. So he has over 20 years of experience and is a great guy. If you are in the development world, kind of you will know him. So this is like a guide you can follow that contains things you need to know to go from that beginner to at least a good front end developer. And this is like an estimate time it will take, including Next.js, React Native, depending on you and depending on how you are able to learn and how you're able to cope. So I will just leave you with these top tips. So number one is start small and build up. Begin with the basic. Don't take more than you can chew. Don't take more than you can bite. Practice consistently. That one, you have to do it all the time. If you leave a code or if you leave programming for like 3 months, 5 months, or 7 months, you will just forget it. Everything will disappear from your brain. So work on project, ask for help. Nowadays you have AI tools, ChatGPT, you have DeepSeek, you have Claude, uh, so many of them. But don't depend on them totally. They will give you some codes that will be wrong. So they are assistants. Don't base your entire life on AI. Use them as tools. Then, most importantly, join a community, engage with other learners, engage with professionals. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There's nobody that knows it all. If you don't understand one thing, ask. Then you must learn to debug. So debug is like troubleshooting. It's just that art of finding and fixing errors in your code. JavaScript has some good ones, console log, console error. If you are doing React, you have your React tools. You have some Chrome extensions here and there that you can use that aids in debugging. Your spec tool is also here and stuff like that. So, rubber duck, debugging, explain your code, read documentation, read and stay updated. Not just front end development alone. Programs to move very, very fast. So you have to keep updating yourself and you need patience and persistence. There are some days you will not be able to figure out a problem. Currently, I'm working on a problem. I've not figured it out for the past 2 days. Once I leave you guys now, I'm going to look at it again. So, and sometimes you just need to just close your system and find somewhere to relax. Don't keep thinking about a particular problem too much. You don't know when the solution will come to you. It may come to you when you are eating or when your brain has calmed down very well. That's when you'll be able to think properly. So it's not like you should spend 12 hours or 18 hours in front of your computer staring at the laptop. Nothing will happen. Sometimes you need to close that system, go out, relax. Why I'm telling you all of this is so that because they tend to paint programmers or tech guys are people that they stay in front of their system all day long and the likes. It's not really like that anyway. You must learn how to interact, not just your core tech skills alone. Build your other skills, your soft skills, networking, communication, collaboration, attend tech events, embrace change, say take regular breaks and the like. So this is just a guide. I won't go through everything from HTML. Then you have project ideas in it and plus JavaScript also, and including project ideas that and Git also. So Git is a version control system. It's kind of like a tool. You don't want to leave your code or your project on your computer. You will cry premium tears, believe me. So all of these things are from practical experience. During that COVID period, let me share one with you. I was working on a resume builder, both the back end and the front end. I designed it, developed it for like consistent for like 4 weeks. Then one day my system just crashed. I lost everything. And it was because I did not put it online. It's not on Git, it's not anywhere. It's not even in my Google Drive. You will cry premium tears. So Git is very important. It's one of the things you should learn as a beginner. Learn to push your code into repository. Whatever you are doing, document it online. If you cannot use Git, use Google Drive. If you cannot use Google Drive, use LinkedIn. If you can't use LinkedIn, use Notion. So many of them and the likes. Just make sure that it's not sitting on your local machine forever. Otherwise, you will cry premium tears. So this is React also. React is the most popular, so I will just say go for React. But we have Vue.js, we have Angular, like I said. They are all good also. So this Next.js and the continuous project. And once you've learned all those one finish, you can learn React Native that helps you to build mobile application. Virtually every good and experienced React.js developer also know React Native because they share similar structure, similar syntax with some little or minor changes here and there. So that will be all at my own end. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to open the floor now in case you have any question. Yeah, Git is not totally the same as GitHub. GitHub is like a platform. So you have GitHub. There's this other one. I can't remember the name. But Git is more like what's the right word for that? Should I say more like a terminal now or an internal engine or stuff like that? But Git powers GitHub and powers a whole lot of some other platform out there. So GitHub is more like an online platform that use your Git to push your code to and the likes. So let me try and see if I will remember the name of the second one. We have another platform apart from GitHub that also use Git. Mm, yes, there's GitLab. So you have GitLab also. So both of them use Git underneath. Okay, so you can no Netlify is not Netlify is where you host your website. So it's a platform for hosting your website online for demo. Maybe you build something like this one that I'm building currently. That React code I show you, I can just quickly host it on Netlify and it will be online. So you can also use it as a production environment too, but it's not totally free if you are using it as production environment. But their free version allows you to deploy your website, the front end online. So it creates a link for you, like a website URL, which you share with anybody you want to share it with. So we have Netlify, we have Excel, and we have other ones too. Okay, so do you have any further question? You can drop it in the chat box. Okay, somebody said we need a guide. I think I saw that one just now. Can you please send us this guide? Okay, I will just send it to the admin. They can then share it with you guys. So, do we have any question or anything before we round it off here? If there are no further question or stuff, we can call it a day. All right. Thank you very much. That's the end of class for today. See you next time.